Hello, and welcome to Conscious Conversations with Hayley Cullen. I'm your host, and together we're diving into raw, unfiltered, and conscious conversations where nothing is off the table. This is a space for bold, edgy discussions that challenge the norm, whether it's health, mindset, business, entrepreneurial life, energy, healing, or even aliens and conspiracy theories. All topics are welcome. My guests and I go deep, sharing their stories, challenges, and breakthroughs while exploring the topics that others might shy away from. Here, everyone's voice is heard, every opinion is valid, and we get real about what's happening in the world and within ourselves. If you're ready to scrape away the surface level, expand your mind, and explore the wild side of consciousness, then you're in the right place. Strap in, because like I said, nothing is off the table. Let's dive into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conscious Conversations. So many episodes happening at the moment, which is so fabulous. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Laura Percy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yay! I love it. It's fabulous how many conversations you're having, and I am so excited to be a part of one of them.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, I'm starting Conscious Conversations with a question. And if you were to have one conscious conversation to help wake up humanity, what would that be?
Wow. Do you know what I was feeling into this morning as I was doing my makeup? I was like, it took me back to this year. I've watched The Matrix twice this year, okay? And it's not really a movie that you watch twice in 1 year. And what it just came back to is like just how you're the one. And it just reminded me this morning of just like, having the conscious conversation as to just telling people that you are the prize and that you are the one. And if we start to actually embody that more, would totally show up so different to how we're actually, going about our lives, because you start to move differently when you know that you're the prize and that you are the one, just like what Neo did in that movie, The Matrix. If you haven't seen it, go on, watch it. It's a Christmas one. But it's like, you can see how he starts to move differently once he starts to feel and having that knowing in his body that he is the prize, he is the one, and he rejected that for so long. And when you reject that, you reject everything that wants to flow to you and through you.
So juicy already. I love this. I love it that you've opened with this. We can go through so many rabbit holes now. When you said, when you were looking in the mirror and you were like, I am the one, sometimes I find it hard to remember that all the time and be present in that and know that I am the creator. I can create everything and anything within me and within my life. How can we stay in that present moment, like all day, every day, to know I am the one, I am the one?
Mm. Oh my goodness. I am so not good at that. And I'm a human being, a human all the time. But what I've realized is, once you let go of having to be every single day, because that starts to be like the control, and then like it's a neediness versus actually just flowing with knowing that you're the prize. And as the prize and the one, you flow wherever your heart is leading you to do, versus always thinking in the mind, stopping yourself from doing something, because then you start to get into comparison, and you start to get into, that overthinking, all those stories that start running through your mind. And it's like, I think in those moments when you start going into that, then you know that you're not like in that prize energy of back in your heart space, because that's truly what it is. Like when you know that you are the one and that you are the prize, it's that you're living from your heart. So it's like, how do you live from your heart every day? And how I live from my heart every day is just waking up and asking that question. It's like, what's what's the thing that I want to express today? That's a question from your heart. That's not a question from your mind. And mine will be like, what's going to get me more money today? Like that's a thinking question versus like, how do I open up to receive more abundance today? That's a heart question. So it's like, how do you start bringing yourself consciously aware of when you're in your mind versus when you're in your heart. And it feels differently. As soon as I say it differently, I feel that in my body. When it's like in the thinking, it's like I laugh straight away because I can recognize that's just in my mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the logic mind, hey? The human mind. I was just going for a walk this morning after being sitting with myself and going, okay, what is it that I want today? What does my body want today? Where am I going? And when if you're tapping into your higher self or your spirit guides and things like that, and you just get something, are we going here or we're doing this, and you actually action it, that's where we get to flow through life, and we are being directed, and it's not forced, and it's not from logic, and it's not, yeah, our human. It's the guided path that we get to take, which is, yeah.
It's interesting. So I'll weave into this a little bit, Hayley, is that I'm going through a bit of an identity death right now. And I've just so initiating into, the seasons in everything that we're doing. And right now I'm just coming out of like a winter and I'm still on the tail end of that and we have micro seasons in everything that we're doing as well. And right now I'm feeling the winter of it because of the identity death. So everything, for the last 2 weeks has been really intense for me. I don't want to be, in my heart. And it's like that. It's so much harder to be my heart. And then I could have labeled myself as being depressed, having anxiety. But now, from all the conscious work that I have actually done, I can recognize, hold on, I'm just in a season right now. So, I grew up in a home that had a lot of mental depression. We've had, suicides, and I've also had suicide thoughts and also have, attempted suicide and things like that. Um, I hope this is appropriate actually on here.
Oh, anything,
I gotta check.
open. But
Yeah.
this is wild because you are a reflection of me, right? This is how it is. So when you're talking about mental health and suicide and suicidal ideation and attempting, that is me. I have lived it as well. So it's an open floor. We can discuss everything and anything because I feel like because we are resonating with this, there'll be listeners out there that will be like, I feel that.
Yeah, I love that. So let's weave to that because that's so alive for me right now is yeah, probably for the last week. I actually we had a conversation offline and I had a family wedding that I hadn't, connected with these family members for 15 years. So it brought a lot of like emotion up in my body. And it ended up being an incredible event. It was like the wedding was lovely and it was so lovely seeing all the family members, but it also triggered me into like back into an emotional state as well. And then there's just so many things being the end of the year and so many deadlines, and there's just so many things happening. But also, my cup had been so full because I've had so many incredible wins. And I'm like, why am I starting to feel like this? In the last week, I'm like, why am I having these, the ideology of it? It's like, I don't want that. Like, I love my family, I love my life. My life is so incredible. This is ridiculous. And, you know, the reflection that I've worked through this week is really around how it was really just the identity that was dying. And because I've done so much transformation as well, and I've gone to a new level even this year, I can actually recognize now that because I grew up with that, I then go straight to like the worst case scenario. Like that's actually what's going to happen. I'm going to there and this is so bad. And, how do I get help with this? This is not okay. But actually it's just recognizing that I can go to that depth I can feel that depth in order to move through. And the deeper that you go, the lighter that you are as well. And I've experienced this multiple times because when I do move through this, so much comes through after it. And like my life just is like collapses timelines like I've not seen for other people, you know? And so it's like you can look at it as like, you know, a gift. But it's like, how do you want to look at it? Are you looking into it from a society point of view of, you know, society saying that that's not okay, you need to get help and have, you know, antidepressant drugs and all these other type of things to mask it? But what I do know now is like, I don't need to mask that at all. It's like, let it come up. Because
Mm,
when you push that down and you don't recognize it and you go, that's not okay to feel like that, then all you're doing is perpetuating whatever feeling, emotion, situation that has allowed it to come to the surface.
yeah. And it's so important to feel it and see why it's here, what it's actually showing you, and being able to move through that with a different perspective instead of like seeing it with the dark, you get to see it with the light. But because we've been in the dark, we can get to the light.
Mm, yeah, totally. And I read this incredible book which is called The Gap and the Gain. I don't actually remember who's it by, but it's an incredible book and it's not spiritual, it's not really woo-woo, but it's, you know, got some great strategies in it. It's about how do you start changing your mindset of always seeing things from a gain versus always the gap. Um, and just I'll give you a little short snippet. It's like one of the, you know, if you want quick things to keep moving forward in your day, this is one of those things. And you ask yourself whenever you're in a situation and you start to go into comparison or you start to feel like, you know, you're not worthy enough, you're not good enough, or you're, you know, again, going back to that reference, are you more in your head than your heart? You know, the thing that you can ask yourself is like, am I in the gap or not in the gain? And when but you'll get the instant response. You'll know if you're in the gap. The gap is like you do not see a way out. You can only see the small little thing. It seems big, but the small little thing that you're fixated on versus everything else in your life. And so if that comes up, it's like go straight into the gain, go the last 30 days and come up with 5 things that you've gained in the last 30 days. And to be honest, that's helped me so much in this last week of just being able to get out of it and fully recognize just and going out, getting connected to the earth, doing the gap in the gain, to move through that as well. So I come back to my heart.
Mm, beautiful. And such a simple process to do daily.
Yeah.
You can stay on top of that.
Yep.
And you're not pushing it down. You are, and you're looking at the last 30 days. So you're looking at everything that's played out for you. You probably can see more than 5 things, really.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love I love that when even doing gratitude every day, when you actually look at your life and you know, you wake up in a comfortable bed, you're in a beautiful home, you've got food on the table, got an able body to actually get out of bed, like that's nearly 5 already.
Exactly. I do find that though, when working with clients, they can't even, sometimes they just can't even get to that because they're so in the mind of like where they want to be next and they're so future paced. And this really happens with such high achievers as well that they don't actually look at this. So it's not someone who is just, you know, depressed, anxiety and not feeling great and having these thoughts or feelings, but it's also just entrepreneurs in general, right? High achieving people cannot look at the gains. Whilst they don't have the depths of some other people of what we just went through, but just talking about high achievers, it's like to go into gratitude and to go into things that are the gain takes a lot of summoning because they're so future paced and it's like they still haven't got to where they wanting to go to. But the more, so if you're a high and I am definitely one at times. I don't know if I'm recovering or not, but I've got great tools now. It's like How do you continue to actually see and be grateful for the things you have here right now and what's happening in the present moment? And to be honest, when as a high achiever, if you recognize yourself as one, and if you start having daily gratitude, start looking at all the things that you are gaining in a, as the last 30 days to the last week and in the moment, in the present moment, you are actually going to have multiple, you'll multiply your wealth creation journey. You'll do it for less effort and your return will be greater.
Mm, love that. So
Yes.
what are you doing to get to that, being a high achiever? What's a day-to-day look like for you to get you to into that cash flow, like from your heart? And also, what is it? Is there a daily practice that you do? So, being a high achiever, or maybe ADHD brain or things like that, where you've got focus on this, and it's just go, 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 go. What is it that you do to for that process
Yeah.
each day?
I think I just get my whole Mary Poppins bags of tools out. And there are so many things that I'll lean into. But the biggest change I would say from when I started doing property, I started doing property development 8 years ago now, and I had no experience. I was a mama of two, still breastfeeding at night with my babies. And for me, it was, I had to work around the children to, actually move forward. And it served me in that moment. So I'd be up late nights, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., like, and then I'll be waking up and I was like, and I would have little, like, it was crazy. I had no sleep, but then
Mm,
I would sleep when the babies did, and I would be living on coffee. That was such a hustle mode. I don't always love saying the hustle mode because there is also a time and place for hustle, and people put it as a bad thing as well. It really depends on what's in your body. But for me in that moment, I was really in the hustle, but I was in burnout as well. And what I recognized is I felt like I had to be at a computer screen all day, in between things or on a phone call to be worthy of what I was like achieving versus actually just sitting it and going, what do I feel like doing now? I've done the things that I needed to do. Now what? So I started to implement as I started to create success. I had wins. I started doing great developments. I then and started having more cash flow than I'd ever seen ever and thought could come in my bank account. It was wild. There was a point where I was like, well, hold on, I've actually made more than what I thought I would make. So why am I not slowing down? So that's really when I started really getting more into personal development, energetic work. And it was really a worthiness thing.
mm,
How do we, as a high achiever, to actually feel worthy to be in the present of what you're creating? And so my daily routine, coming back to that, Hayley, is really around setting standards for myself every day. So it's like, have I got out in nature? Have I got my matcha? Like, I love my matchas. But my matcha involves like not going in and walking out. It involves maybe me getting a bike and going with my husband because I got my husband out of work and spending time that way. It might be going for a beach swim, going for a beautiful walk. It's actually centering myself before I get into anything. And also, I just have one task a day that's the critical task. I might have 3 to 4 goals that I need to achieve in that day, but I only have one critical. And if I get that one critical done, and if I'm just like not feeling it, I just don't do it
mm.
because I know that next day I'm probably going to feel amazing if I actually just listen to myself in that day. Whereas I would never have done that before because my worthiness piece was actually I had to sit at a desk. But now my worthiness piece comes when I put myself first, always.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love that. And my view is very much the same, or my process is I'm a cacao. I'll have a cacao in the morning, not a matcha.
Yes.
and make sure that I'm in nature, grounded, like on the grass to have my cacao or at the beach, wherever I am, depends where I am at the time. And then I think of mine as like you said, you've got one critical task and then some goals. Mine is, I think of mine as my brick. Like, what brick am I going to lay today that's going to
Mm.
start, like, it's building my empire. So I've got one brick to lay today. So what is that that's going to, that one thing that's going to move me
That's
forward?
so juicy. I love that.
It's good, isn't it? I love it too.
Yes.
So I've got to just like lay one brick today to
Yep.
build the empire, and
Oh my goodness.
and
I'm
that's
gonna
what
have to
I get
take
done.
that, Haley. Like that's like my branding now. It's so good.
Especially for you, especially for you because you're in the property development, and I
Yes.
feel like that's because I worked in construction as well. Like I was managing a building company,
Yes.
and that was that when I came out of doing that and went into it, I was like, okay, so everyone talks about laying the foundations,
Yes.
prepared for slabs to go down and footings and all the things. So I was like, okay, I'm going to lay a brick every day to
Yes.
build my empire. So
Yes. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. It's so juicy. I'm taking it. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll credit Haley for it. It's all
yeah,
good.
you're right.
Collaboration.
Yeah, so good. So tell me, let's talk about the development
Yeah.
and how you got into that.
Yes.
Especially being a mama of two, like that's huge to,
Yeah.
have the time for your children and be there for them, but also I know what it takes to even just build one house, let alone a development. So
Mm.
how did you get there and what was the process?
Yeah, so the process really started like when Joel and I, which is my husband, we got married and we had a mentor and she's like, how are you going to build wealth? And we're like, I don't know, how are we going to do that? And she kind of went through some ideas with us and we naturally just really loved property. Like I grew up with my parents doing property development, but never to the extent that I did. It was like they would buy a house and they might put a duplex on it, or they might just do one house and then would move into that one and then we'll build another one and move again. That's what I grew up with. So I really loved property and I love the aesthetics of it. So that was a good fit for us. So we just started going to seminars and courses and, you name it. We went there. And back then, it wasn't like you could go to a masterclass for a 90-minute masterclass online or anything like that. It was like you were dedicating your weekends to these kind of things. And then we landed on a great course that was just specific to property development because I remember starting to look into the renovation strategy, and it felt like it was a lot of hands-on. Even though you could build a good team, it felt like you still had to have so much more hands-on and being there more so than when you do a development. So for me, really, I was already naturally really good at running projects. So I worked for the government in a project administration role. So I was already I was really just leaning into my skills that are already were innate in me. And um, and then yeah, we landed on property development, we actually had no money getting into it, and eh, the the course that we did really helped us in understanding how we could structure things so we could work with other people's money.
Mm.
And that was so eye-opening for us because we could get started now. We thought we had to wait until we saved more deposits, saved more money to actually get into property, but we didn't. So at the time when we said, let's go full into this, we had already bought a property that we were going to build our dream home on. And fortunately for us, we actually we said let's sell it. Let's put all the money into the actually getting started in property development. We ended up selling that and we made a profit on it, which was we thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, it actually built the dream, even though it wasn't the dream house. It built the dream,
Amazing.
and we were living in Sydney at the time, and we decided to move to the Gold Coast. We really wanted to have a completely different environment than what we were in. We were living in my mother-in-law's garage at the time. And the garage, we were being very secretive of all the things that we were learning, and we didn't want to tell anyone. So we did that whole thing of, moving to a whole other state so no one knew what we were doing.
Oh,
We didn't want,
really?
we didn't want eyes on us of like if we were going to fail or not.
Yeah, right. The pressure that you put on yourself.
It was a
Yeah.
big pressure. So and it seemed like a good fit for us as a young family as well. We thought this was going to be a really good move for us. We moved prior to COVID timeframe, and it was so good because we also, you could say luck, but we just listened to our heart. We listened to the universe. It's like we're always being divinely guided all the time. And for us, we got into the market before COVID happened on the Gold Coast. And, I was looking around the Gold Coast, finding a development site, and I found one. And it was going to be a four townhouse development. And we needed to raise $800,000 from someone, other people's money, in order to do the project. And I was just sharing my journey, to be honest. This was when social media wasn't as what it is today. And I was just sharing what I was doing, and someone just approached me and said, "Hey, I'd really like to partner with you." It was that simple.
Yeah, wow. That's great. How do you find investors these days?
hmm Really through the
Still
same
the
format. Still the same format. It's really just about that question again. It's like there's always questions that you can ask yourself. Like, you actually have all the answers. It's like, who do I need to be in to be investable? Who do I need to become in order for someone to invest in me and my projects?
same?
And it might be, okay, it might be a strategy thing. You will get the download. You think that you don't, but we always are getting them all the time. It's about how do you actually clear the noise so you can start listening to it more and being open to listen to more of it. And sometimes it might be strategy. So it might be putting out a post somewhere. It might be me putting on social media what we're doing, like I did at the time. And then sometimes it is actually just around you knowing that you are the prize again, that you have an opportunity that no one else can give that other person. And they're looking for someone to partner with. It happens every single day. It's not uncommon. It just might be uncommon for maybe one of the listeners who've never experienced it. But it's very common to have investors and work with other people's money. Even large firms and big businesses do collaborations all the time.
Yeah, so true. I love that. I love that there's people out there that are just like, okay, I'll give you the money. You build this epic um for townhouse development, and then they just get the um money that you make, like the profits.
Yeah.
How great's that?
I want to tell you a story. I just had a one day event, and one of the ladies actually had asked me in the room. She said, how do I get investors?" And I was like, "Well, you probably already have a lot of people in your field that you don't even realize that are in your field that would like to invest in you." And she said, "Well, I have already asked before, and I wasn't really met with, great response." And I said, "Well, when you go in to ask, it's a shitty energy."
Hmm.
It's shitty energy. Like if you're asking, "Please, can you be a part of something?" Like it's like you're like, "Oh, what's going on here?" You
Yeah.
don't want to be a part of it. Why are they asking? Versus when you show up at a different level of yourself and knowing that you're the prize, knowing that you have an opportunity and that you're sharing something, and also that you just come from you actually don't come from an ask point of view anymore. You actually just show up and give someone an opportunity. And so interesting. I actually spoke to that lady yesterday, and she said, "Yeah, that feedback that you gave me was really good because after the event, I ended up just not asking someone, and I did exactly what you said in that event. And then they want to invest in me. They were ready to transfer money to me." And I was like, "Oh, of course." So, she was doing a development herself, and she's like, this is a thing. It's so simple, but it doesn't seem simple at the time because you're so logical. You're so in your mind that you think, "Oh, no one would invest in me." That
Yeah.
couldn't happen. That's just, well, you're logical. Of course, it's
Yeah.
not going to happen for you then.
Yeah. Wow. So I love this because I love building. So you go source the land
Yep.
first, or are you saying, hey, we've got this project on, um, are you looking for builders? Are you looking for like, um, interior designers, all the things? Or do you do that yourself? Because I know I absolutely loved working out the floor plan, what's going to go where, and then picking out the color schemes, the tiles, and yeah, all of the external colors. Like I love doing that. So do you outsource that, or is that something that you love doing yourself as well?
Yeah,
Uh,
so I
yeah.
originally when we started doing development, we would do a lot of it internally, just because we were trying to save costs as much as we could. Also, it was like a worthiness thing, or like I had to prove to my investors like we could do everything.
Yeah.
But it's just so ridiculous. No, but how we work is so taking aside the investors for a second, just how we do the process of property development is I go through a whole framework in that I've created in sourcing great deals, whether that's luxury homes, whether that might be townhouses, whether that might be unit developments, whether that might be subdivision. And then from that, and we identify that it's a great deal. So we go, okay, let's move forward, let's acquire this site. The investor piece will come in at that point, but we'll just go through the next part. Then we go on to getting the development approval. We create an external team, so we don't have any overheads internally. So it's a great business model as well in terms of like profitability, because you don't have to always have an internal team. It's, we work with town planners, civil engineers, and then it starts to move on to interior designers. I think I said architects, all the team that's required to build it. So we're getting all the team together, and then obviously a builder as well. Within all of that, you're still a project manager. So you're still, and also being the developer, you are the vision of this. So what I love about it is that I can do the vision part of this, but then I don't have to like execute everything. I'm just making sure everything is flowing, which really suits who I am, especially that I love to have freedom of my time versus having to be on site, be available all the time. And that's why it really works with my freedom model. And then we end up selling at the end of the project. And yeah, so we get agents and sell them on, get the profit, and then we move on to another one.
Yeah, great. So when you sell the development at the end, that's when you pay everyone, or you have the investors that come in, that's how you pay them prior to the work that they're doing?
Or the consultants.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all a part of the feasibility that we do. So so when we're creating a feasibility, as a rule of thumb, don't like this is just a rule of thumb. Generally speaking, when you have all your costs involved in a project, where that's all your professional costs, your land holding costs, your development approval costs, finance costs, purchase costs, sale costs, all those things, and obviously your GST as well, when you factor in all of those, generally speaking, there is a total development cost. And say if it's like 3 million, it's basically a third of that TDC as a rule of thumb is what equity that you require into the project. And the other comes from a finance cost, being a loan from a bank. And so it's all calculated in that. And that's why if it doesn't say profit, you can't pay back that investor. But if it's saying profit, that means that there's equity in the deal. They will get their return, they'll get their, $1 million back, plus then also they'll get the profit as well, split back as well.
Nice. So good. And how long have you been doing this for?
I am up to my 8th year doing this.
Wow. So 8 years ago with 2 children. Don't you have more kids than that now, though?
Yes, I have 4 children.
Right. And
how can do this? Anyone can do it.
How are you, doing mum life and managing these massive developments? Like, how are you finding the flow in that?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I really had support from my mom who would come and, if I had to go and have a meeting for an hour, she would always come over and, watch the babies. And then it came to COVID timeframe and we got faced with Joel, even though he was in a job for 12 years, he actually got made redundant because we moved states because it was a new position, even though it was the same company effectively. And we got faced with, I was pregnant with my third at the time. And um, if he went with the redundancy, he got a new role, but it was significantly less money. So we thought, how am I going? I've done this with two children. How am I going to do this with three children? And the goal was always to have Joel at home. I remember he would go off to work, would be in bed, me and the two kids, and go, we can't wait for you just to lay in bed with us. That was the dream. That was actually the dream. The dream wasn't to have millions of dollars in the bank account. The dream was that we could wake up and spend our time together because Joel and I are both diplomats and we're like, we are best friends.
Oh, I love that.
And so from there, really, it was I had Joel in the home supporting. So even though we were taking on multiple projects, we were just weaving in. I would have a work call and he was looking after the children. And then we got to a point where we started to scale even more. So to date, I've done over 100 million in GRV. So GRV is the gross realization value. So it's the buildings that I've created on the end. And so I've done over 100 million in that today. And so we started to really scale. And as we scaled, we thought, okay, it's time to get a nanny because we love our home really clean and we didn't want to do all the things. So we've been able to have a part-time nanny for the last couple of years, which has been so, so amazing. So we can just, again, live out our freedom and intertwine life. And that's how we work it. But I didn't have that in the beginning, though it doesn't mean that you can't do this without having a nanny or a husband at home because I still started this without those things.
Yeah. And these things happened as you grew.
Yes.
And that's what happens when you actually make the decision and you go for it and you do put in the hustle and things like that at the beginning. The first few years, if you actually hustle and grind, then what happens afterwards? Look at the growth. It's not forever, right? All the hustle and juggling kids and business, and it's not forever.
Yep.
And you would prefer to do that for 2 to 3 years than 20, 30, 40 doing a normal like 9 to 5 and being a working mom and things like that. So amazing. I love that for you and that you've created such an epic empire building all of these beautiful properties. How do you entwine all the woo-woo into this? Because when you're on a construction site, it's a lot different energetically
Yes.
than, when you're in your fam and your flow and you're in your frequency.
There's there's the woo-woo spectrum of me. So sometimes the woo-woo spectrum is like, okay, I'm just going to go ground today. Like that's a simple thing. People understand and recognize that in the marketplace. Anywhere, in any industry now, like, okay, go ground yourself. And then there's the other spectrum of me that I'm getting crystals and putting in the ground of my development sites and the builder's going, I got no idea, but we're spending the morning putting crystals in the ground. So there's a spectrum of me. And the reason why I intertwine and I think it's so important was back when I was starting this and I was doing all the courses, it was all strategy. Everything was about the steps that you take. How do you show up? What do you do every day? How do you goal set? Oh, it's great. It's required. But I feel that a lot of any industry really has more of like a 90% weight on strategy. And I would say it's like more 90% energetics than anything. Like it's you.
Yeah.
It's always you. And that's why I loved how we started off this. It was like, what's that conscious conversation? It's like when it's just you, that's what you focus on. And so at the time I was getting all this strategy and I'm doing it, but I actually felt shit. I felt like crap. I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, even though I was having wins. There's also this, the high achiever in me, so I couldn't see the gain that I was having, but I was also feeling terrible. And I'm like, is this even worth it? And then all my shit started coming up. All my stuff was coming up, emotionally for relationships. And I was like, Joel and I are best friends, but we were struggling so much as well as a couple because also I was a woman leading us when he had been the breadwinner. So, going through those challenges of, what did that mean? And
Mm.
and also of, me, I was always intertwining of like family life and then business life. And some days I just wanted to be a mum. But then I was like the leader in this business, and then I'd get annoyed at Joel, be like, you got to get up and do something. But all I recognized, and now I see this from a different point of view because I then started going, this is not okay. This has to be me. It's not actually him. And so I did have an awakening where I lost a baby, and that really opened up my heart to receive spiritual guidance where I'd never been open to it before. And when I say woo woo, woo woo isn't like dark magic or anything like that. It's just innate in you. It's already what is us. But we forget that we don't get taught that it's suppressed because of a global control system. And these are just the energetics is the innate abilities already within us. And when I started to explore more support for that, I started to see that I was doing more of that work, getting more results in my property business than what I was previously. And
Mm.
the penny dropped for me of like, maybe other people need this because when I would get regularly, like once I started getting a few projects, I had eyes on me. How was she doing this? She didn't have the money. She was just a mum. She's a blonde woman on a Christian doing this in a man's world. How is she doing this?
Was that coming from other people or was that
Yes,
coming from you?
that was coming from other people. So people leaned in. They were leaning in. They wanted to know, what was my secret sauce? What was I doing? What course did you do? And this is when I started getting people of like, oh, would you coach me? I was not wanting to coach at this point in time. I never set out to coach. I was just doing spiritual work, NLP work, just for my own self.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize other people need this. The crack is happening universally. The crack is happening. And, COVID was one of those big things of where it started to awaken people in a different way that they had never been awakened before. And it's like the universe, Mother Gaia created that. And I see the importance of it because people want to get into property to create freedom.
Mm.
Freedom isn't just getting money. It's a vanity metric. Freedom is actually when you choose it in your body. And if you're not connected to your body, you actually never get there.
I love that. Oh, wow. So many people did awaken through COVID and are starting to go inward and look at themselves and their past challenges and things like that, which is beautiful. And I love that, people are doing that for themselves and for their relationships. How does that, how do you intertwine that with your property development business? Like, are you coaching people just on their self inner work, or are you coaching people on how to build business, build developments or build houses and things like that? Or is it like, do you mix the two?
Yeah, when I first started, I actually didn't want to teach coach property at all. I wanted to actually only give energetics.
Right.
But my audience was property people, and I was like, all right, I'll give people the property stuff. And I felt like that they were separate for a long time. And then I realized halfway through this year, I was like, no, it's not. It's actually the same thing, and you're intertwining it. So for me, how it works is I just did a 3 day event, sorry, a day event. And in that day event, there was strategy. There was how do you get a development side? What does the acquisition funnel look like? What are those steps to do that? But then I then started weaving into energetics of, energetic blocks that they might have, of things of, there was one question which I had a conversation with another person yesterday from the event, and one of their takeaways was, the question was, who are you filtering through to keep small? So who in your life are you filtering through to keep playing small? And that really got him, that really got him because he was filtering through a family member. And that just awoke, and I was like, it gave him a different perspective of how he can show up differently, how that relationship can be. And that is a block. So people think that just money is a block of like buying a development site. A block can be, who are you filtering through to play small? Because if you get that development site and you make, $150,000 plus, 2 million, like you can make so much money from property development. It's like, if you're making that, how does that change your life? And people go, oh yeah, that'll be great. Oh, I can do all these things. But subconsciously, you won't actually allow it. What you will do is you will sabotage throughout it and push it away because you're filtering it through a lens of someone else. So you keep playing small. So even though you might start taking those steps, subconsciously you're actually sabotaging it because you still need to be in rapport of that person that you're filtering through. And that's exactly how I intertwine energetics and the strategy of property development. Because it's you're the one who's driving this. So one session that I might have with my client might be like, okay, these are all the next milestones, for you to achieve to getting that new development site. And that might be specific call agents, research, development applications. They're strategic things. But then the next day, it actually might be, well, I remember one client as well was playing a game with her children. And I'm like, well, how you play games is how you play life. So
Right.
what came up instead that weaved in that session was, notice yourself how you're playing that game with your children. Are you holding yourself back? Are you getting angry if you don't win? Are you wanting to win? Do you not want to win? Are you taking yourself out of the game? What does that look like? And it's just also, it's so intuitive. So whatever is happening for that person, it's not a roadmap for everyone. It's a roadmap for them and what it is as the next needle mover. And I'm so amazing at knowing what are the tension points of the needle movers to move forward. And that is the energetics with the strategic.
Yeah, so good. It's so wild when you actually look at the games that we get to play every day. Like my eyes were open to that last year, and
Yes.
it's like the way we do everything. Is it a win-win? Am I actually celebrating myself when I do win?
Yes.
All of those kind of things come into it as well, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like when you are making this kind of money, like large sums of money, and it all depends on the individual as well, what they think is a lot of money and how they can hold it, where their ceiling is at. Do they feel worthy enough to connect with these investors? Do they feel like, all the things? Am I good enough to build this property? There's just so much underlying than just, I'm just going to put out there to get investors, or it's so much deeper than that.
Yes. And the biggest value of working with me in close proximity that is those who want to work and do the energetic work with the strategy work, those are people who want to know how to think, not be told. They don't want to just go, okay, here, this is what you do next. They actually want to know how to think. So they are the leader. Versus just being, the person who goes along with it, gets to the next move and that the next move. It's like actually, and that's the difference that I separate myself in the market as well, is that There's so many people who teach property development. It's great. If that's for you, go for it. Go if you align more with them. But if you actually want to know how to think, how to move beyond just what you learn in a 3-day course, then that's the work that I actually do. And that is the intertwining of the strategy and the energetics together.
Hmm. Oh, I love it. I love that it's like the energetics of everything. Like that is it. That is just what it is. Everything is energy, right? Everything is energy. Money, you, like this chair, this laptop, like it's all, we can get like really down the rabbit hole of like the sub anatomic, what is it, particles and things
Yep.
like that. That is just creating everything.
Yes. No, it's vibrating so much that it looks still, but it's not.
Was that in the Matrix as well?
No, I don't know, I just made that up.
I've
But it
seen
actually,
that.
do you
I've
know what
seen it.
just dropped in is like that's so interesting though, because it's like when people are so busy and they're in their minds and they're thinking, they're actually like frantic and like trying to move. But actually, if you're more high vibrational, you don't actually move like that. You allow the energy to move with you. This is so vibrational now, and I love vibrational stuff now. But it
Like just
is. Yeah, because you're needing to move, and sometimes you're frantic in, okay, I just need to get a new development. I need more money in my bank account. I need to do this. And neediness is not a good energy. It's another shitty energy.
yeah,
Work through that or that.
yeah. No,
So,
it's nothing. It's not a need, right?
no,
It's,
no. And
we get to when we want to. That's what I always say. If I catch myself saying something, I'm like, no,
yeah,
I want to. I don't
yeah.
need to. I actually want to.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And I've had to rewire myself around that as well of neediness. But when we're so busy in doing things, there's a part of us that's probably energetically pushing ourselves to move things within our body, but then also just catching ourselves, are we actually just moving because we're so low vibrational? And it's like, how do we actually move to the energy that we're calling in? So someone who's like wanting to call in, say, $1 million, how do they move? What is the vibration of that? Start feeling into the vibration of what $1 million would look like. How would you
Mm.
feel with that? And start being that versus being the frantic person of like, I just need another client, I need another development site. It's like
Yeah.
frantic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like when it is like that and all frantic, like even though that you might be moving, you're stuck in that one spot anyway. You're
Yes.
not moving anywhere. You're not moving forward. You're
Yeah.
like there and everywhere, and
Yep.
there's not actually any steps forward.
Yes. Totally. Yep. Yep. And
Ah.
it's such a big thing that I feel we're moving more into is around the vibrational of speaking more into it. Um, I label everything as energetics, and there's so many things that's under energetics. Though really it comes back to just the vibrational, what we're actually made up. Scientifically, what we're already made up is, 99.9% we're energy, right? And that energy has a vibration, and we just got to start feeling into what is our vibration each day. And to get back to neutral, it's about taking time off our phone, social media, on a regular basis. It is, and then also this is a really busy time of the year, and I was talking about it with my mentor actually about it the other day, and going, oh, I'm really feeling the energy of it. And one really great thing he gave to me was I regularly take off time off my phone to reset and come back to a high vibrational instead of always getting so much information, because it just lowers your vibration so quickly. And one thing he suggested was every quarter to take off 5 days off the phone. And I was like, wow, I actually have not done that every quarter ever. And I can see how powerful it can be, because the first 2 days when I turn my phone off, I generally do 2 to 3 days. And the first day is like, I feel a bit like edgy, like you're already like in the routine of like wanting to pick up your phone or like check something or like,
Mm.
and it gives you like, it puts you in a vibration of like neediness or like comparing or like, So it's like it's low vibrational. It just is. Even
Absolutely.
if you're looking at good stuff, people always say to me, "Oh, we're just looking at good stuff anyway. My Instagram feeds me good stuff." Like, yeah, but you're in the neediness of needing that good stuff because you're outsourcing it versus actually just seeing it within yourself.
Yeah, just wanting that dopamine hit or to
Yes.
now when
Yeah.
you can actually get the dopamine from within. Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And so the first day, I'm always a bit like, I'm still at that. Like, I'll be like, oh, what's happening? And then by day two, I feel my nervous system starting to go down. I feel slower. And then by the afternoon, I always find by afternoon of day two, I have so many downloads coming flooding in. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to write all these things down. But one of the things he said about is when you take off day five is sometimes this is kind of like, say, if our nervous system needs to really be down here, what happens is, throughout the year, it starts to increase and we're up here. And when we take off like 1 or 2 days or just even like an hour, we're only really like doing this. This is like
Mhm.
we're hovering around this. When we take off 5 days off our phones, we actually come back completely down to our nervous system reset. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense because like I definitely notice that I start coming down, but then maybe haven't fully recovered.
Mm.
And so it's such an important thing to vibration. If you want to call in things in your life, if you want $1 million, you want to start having 20, 30, 50K months, and also if there's development people listening to this as well, my community, and you want more development sites, start looking at how your vibration is. How are you showing up with your vibration each day? How much time are you taking off your phone? How much time are you going out into nature? Drinking good water, not fluoride stuff. Like, are you eating organically? Like, there's so many things that those things affect your vibration, and you haven't even like gone out and spoken for the day. They're just
Mm.
things that you're innately having to do to feed and source your body.
Yeah. Powerful.
Mm.
That's without even coming into contact with other people's energies as well.
Yeah.
That's, it's kind of like having, like, your phone is an addiction, right? So it's the first day off it, you're like looking for it, or like your body's got the jitters and you feel like, I just want to reach for that phone. And then as you do decompress and you start to like go back in, you start feeling again, you're in your body, and like, I can't even imagine how clear your body is after 5 days. I've never done 5 days
Mm.
off my phone, so I feel like that's something that I will do over Christmas. Is definitely turn my phone off for the 5 days leading into the new year. I think,
Yes.
and like my body is fully decompressed and clear for these drop-ins for 2026.
Yes.
It's exciting. I
Yeah.
love that. So everyone is addicted to their phone, really, isn't it?
Mm. And
It's
it's
just,
great. Like it's incredible because of what we can do with it. It's like as AI and technology start to increase, then the conscious awareness needs to increase with it too. So as we're rising with the AI and phone and the abilities that we can have as we move around our day and not just be in a home wired connection, it's about how do we be consciously aware of, okay, what are the benefits that we can take from this? But what are the things that aren't going to actually serve us? It doesn't, and it doesn't serve us to have it on us all the time. And even just going to the shop without it, like if you need to go down to the shop versus paying with your phone, take some cash.
yeah,
Like take a
absolutely.
card instead. And even little micro doses of that, if you've never even taken a phone, you turned your phone off for a day, start with micro doses first and see the impact that it actually gives. Also, a lot of stuff can come up as well. I see that, and this is why I do recommend it with my clients as well as to turn their phones off, is because strategically they're not moving forward. So it's an energetic piece. So sometimes it's not gaining more, it's actually removing more. Again, with a lot of high achieving people, it's not actually about giving them more things. It's about what do we actually need to remove in order to move forward. And sometimes my recommendation is let's remove the phone for a day, turn it off, don't do anything, no strategy, no nothing. And then all of a sudden, they might have had an argument with their partner, or something's happening in their family, or and they feel crap, and they think, oh, it's because I turned my phone off, and I haven't been doing strategy, or something happened within the business because I was off my phone. It's like, actually, that's already there. What's happened is that you've created space now for that to be worked on.
Mm. For it to be seen.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah.
And I do think back, like, my parents didn't have phones like this and things like that. They didn't have as much distraction. And it's so funny, because a lot of, like, there's so many memes out there and saying like how our generation like work on so much. But we've come in the age of technology. So we've always got things. We've got so much more toys and things as a children, and iPads and computers and entertainment, versus what we did when our parents were younger. Like, they literally went outside. I remember my mother-in-law always says to me, we would go out when we'd go home when the street lights went on. Like,
Yeah.
that was the cue to go home, right?
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
have all these other different stimulants, so they don't need so much work on themselves versus our generation. Why do we have so much work to do? Well, it's because we've got so much stimulus that we never actually allow time for it to bring up.
Mm. I was in the generation of not having a phone. Like, I think maybe I was 16 or 17 when I got my first phone. That's when
Yeah,
they came
same.
out.
Yeah.
And that's it. We were outside and we were playing. Like, yes, we
Yep.
might have had a Nintendo or an Atari or something like that, but it wasn't very often that we played it. We were out on the bikes and we were
Yep.
down at the pool or whatever with our friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, we weren't overstimulated and all of that kind of stuff from these devices.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I do with my community as well, is put your phone down over nighttime and actually rest and recover. Like, put your phone down overnight and then get like outside of your bedroom and get it like after you've been up for half an hour and you've actually checked in with yourself and you're breathing and you're checked in with yourself. What is it that I'm going to show up like today? What does my body want from me? Or, like whatever question it is that you want to ask yourself, do all of those kind of things so you are clear and you are rested and you've recovered, and you can then like move through your day instead of like scrolling all night or first thing in the morning scrolling. Like, it can actually set yourself up for a great day if you remove the device.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it again, it's a free thing. It's such a simple free thing that you can just implement, and it actually does change everything. It is a game changer. And it's just like that saying is like, you won't notice if you eat a burger, your body won't look differently if you eat one burger, but if you eat one burger every single day, you're gonna look different by 12 months, right? Not to use the negative way of like looking at this, but it is. It's like, if you just keep doing those micro things every single day, your year, especially that we're at the end of the year going into 2026, and really taking the shedding of the snake year into the horse year. It's like, well, the horse is about running. It's about actually moving with flow of all that you have shedded. So it's like, how are you going into this new year? What are those micro things that you're going to do every single day? And that comes back to a standard. Do you have high standards for yourself of how you show up for yourself?
Yes, I love that. And it can just be a couple of things, right? You've got your one brick that you're going to lay for the day, and then like less distraction, less numbing, more in your body, more open for the downloads and the channeling and things like that. Speak to your spirit guides. The flow.
Yes.
It just can be so easy and simple when we allow the flow and we allow the body to be like open to receive.
Yep.
And we get to receive everything, right?
Yep.
Oh, it's the juiciness.
We've weaved so many things in today. I'm loving this. This is so good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's why I love conscious conversations, because we can talk about everything and anything. It's not like one specific thing. We can just talk about it all and the different layers of everything as well. Well, if you were to give one piece of advice to the listeners today, what would it be?
Mm. Ooh, one piece of advice to listeners. I want to go back to that, yeah, that the initial. So I'm gonna close and do a nice little bow on this of like being the prize, being the one. Um, sure, if you want your homework to be to again go listen to Matrix. But
Definitely watch it.
it's really good. Side note, we actually are getting Matrix number plates for our car.
Are you?
But it was actually an easy thing to get. It was like a whole side thing. We like manifested this, by the way. So we're weaving a bit here. Hold on. I have to tell you this story because this is pure magic. Okay. We bought a Toyota Land Cruiser. We were so excited about it. And we're like, the number plates have to be Matrix. And then we went to go get them. And then they just weren't available. You had to actually contact Toyota for them. And prior to this, we had an F-250 truck. So we didn't even know that we're going to get back, like getting a Toyota. And we're like, oh, but we really want those. So we're like, guides, we're just going to leave this in your hands. We really want those. If it's supposed to be for us, then it's going to be for us. So Toyota had actually, side note, trademarked Matrix.
Oh, really?
Yes, because Toyota used to have a car that was like the Matrix. It was a Matrix car. It was called Matrix.
Really?
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah, and this was like I think it was prior to the movie. Anyway, so it was wild. So they actually owned the rights for it. So if anyone has Matrix, you have to actually go through Toyota to be able to have those license plates. And so how amazing. We just got led to like buy a Toyota. We already knew that we wanted the Matrix number plates. Oh my gosh, everyone's gonna know who I am now driving. But anyway, that's okay. But um we ended up just reaching out to them, we were the guides, and we ended up getting to someone high in Toyota, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll look into this. And we're like, okay. We're like, everything was just flowing because we're just so open to it.
Yeah.
And we ended up finding out this week that they're like, we give you the rights to use the Matrix number plates. And we're like, it was such a
Yeah.
win. Like, oh, we couldn't believe it. We were so excited about it. But we just kept faith and we just like kept open about it.
Yeah.
And I guess one of those things is that anytime I've manifested, it's just like I come back to the feeling of myself of like how do I get to be in this? Who am I? Like, what am I contributing to the world when I manifest this? And it's such a good takeaway because when you start thinking and feeling into those kind of questionings, it just brings you back to being the prize. Be the prize in your life because when you are the prize, you give so much more to the people around you. And sometimes it might not be sometimes we go into this neediness of having to share everything that we've learned. But when you just are who you are and knowing that you are the prize, you are the one, and it's taken 4,000 plus ancestors for you to get here today, don't waste it.
Yeah.
Show up and just be you because you were supposed to be here for that, for just being you.
Yes. The one. The one. Oh, I love it. I can't wait to see the Matrix number plate.
I know it's going to be so
That's so
good. We're so excited about that. Actually, that was a wild manifestation. We're like, okay, cool. But we're so open to it. That's another thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you got to be just open to having it and
Yeah.
not having it.
Yeah. And if you're thinking that it's not going to happen or we're not going to get it, that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
If you are open to it and you're like, oh, well, it'll come to us. Whatever they've got to do, they can do, and it'll all happen how it's meant to, right?
Exactly.
With anything in life, everything happens however it's meant to play out, it does. So, of course, you got the Matrix number plate.
Of course. Of course. Yes, it's just my new normal now.
And it gets to be that simple too, right? It's
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
If
Maybe
that-
I need to start putting on some quotes from the Matrix on the back of the car each day. And that's going to be my daily contribution to the community.
How can you do that?
I don't know. I'm
Get
just
some stickers. Different lights made up. Neo, or like the green thing.
or maybe I just put you are the one and then
Yeah.
all right.
Right. One of my friends, he's got a number plate red pill.
Oh, that's a good one.
So
That's
good.
good. How did you get red pill? Anyway, that's cool because you got to
Yeah.
sometimes be creative with that. That's good. Yeah.
Yes.
We're clearly down the
Well,
rabbit hole.
we are. We are. I love it. Um, I just want to ask, when you watched The Matrix, was it narrated to you at the time as well?
So I watched it early in the year by myself, and I actually went through all of the Matrixes. I wanted to watch them all again from a very awakened perspective. And then the next time that I watched it in the year, I then watched it and someone narrated it to me, and it was wild as well, seeing different things and the epiphanies of others and how they see it and what you have quote unquote missed as well.
Mm,
It's like, oh wow, that's a great perspective.
yes.
So I loved the narration.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it too. And I feel every time I do watch it,
Mhm.
something new, I see something new. And then having it narrated to me as well, I was like, shit, I didn't even like think or see that.
Yes. Actually, that's a really good point to go into, Haley, because one of the parts was just stopping and seeing I think it was like a name on a book.
Mm,
And I was like, I wouldn't even looked at the book
yeah,
on the table. We're looking at the main characters. But that's how it is every day. We're so focused on the main event that we're not looking at the little intricacies that actually always happening around us that make that is so important to the whole picture.
yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Everyone go watch The Matrix at least 3 times in the next couple of months and notice what's different. See,
Yes. What's different?
yeah, and look
Mm.
past the characters as well.
Mm.
You know, even I think there was a video shown on YouTube about the Matrix and how it was also perceived as like something totally different to just
Mhm.
Neo, and like Neo was God or whatever, and like all the different things.
Mhm. I feel
Ah,
as though every time I don't actually watch TV or like movies a lot, and every time I watch them, it's actually just the universe weaving in some magic to me. And I actually went and saw the new Avatar last night. Take the
oh, really? Was it great?
Oh, it was much more violent than the other two. It was like intense, but I think also I just came off the back of, my identity shift. So I feel like my nervous system was, not at the full capacity. So, but I think it was definitely more violent. But just, I love again, one of the things that they say is how, when there's darkness, light always comes back.
Mhm.
And it's always that scene of when you can see the light go, and it's very distinct in those movies because it's obviously portraying the beautiful is it the Navari, or the place in which that it's created, and all the life comes to light by glowing and things like that. So it's very much articulated to say this is a day and night and what it looks like. And I just love that because it is. It's like when we, yes, we'll go through our depths, there'll be dark times, and everything doesn't feel like that we're ever going to come out the other end of the tunnel, but light always comes back.
Yeah.
Light always comes back. And even though, we might be going through lots of things in globally, and people, terrible things that are happening globally. But what we can do is just know that the light will always come back through. That don't, with so much AI and technology, we're so, like we can see everything that's happening now versus like you would never know what something's happening. You would back years and centuries ago because everything was on newspaper, and now it's all through, instant communication, and that affects us again. So it's
Mm,
like, just know that if you are someone who is going down the rabbit hole, which can be quite intense at start, or, changing your life and doing something else, and just know that there's always light on the other side of it. Even though you might feel like it doesn't, there is always light.
yeah. always. And this is like the whole pendulum swing as well. Like we have to experience the dark to absolutely experience the light,
Yeah.
you know? And it's the same like with grief and love, you know, like you can't experience the depths of grief without having like the height of love.
Yes.
With it's anything, there's always like two sides. So we have to experience both, and we get to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, the universe is really just trying to show us anything that is moving through us at that point in time. If you're not listening to your guides, it might be through a movie. It might be through, you know, through something that you do watch on social media. And that is the appropriate thing where the universe is trying to weave in because you're not listening as well to your guides. So
Yeah.
that's why I do love movies as well, because I think there is messages in it and I don't think it's all bad. I think there is that, just like that pendulum, I think there is the polarities and to everything. There is good and bad in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Laura, how can people get in contact with you?
Yes, the best way to get in contact with me is through my social media, through Instagram, which is Laura Percy Coaching.
Yay. I love that. What an amazing chat we've had.
We've weaved through a lot.
We have.
Yep.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing so many things. All the best for 2026, the year of the horse. It's going to be fabulous.
Yes.
And yeah, for everyone listening, go watch The Matrix. Go check out Laura Percy Coaching over on Facebook, Instagram. Are you on both?
Yes, I'm on both.
Yeah. And have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Bye, everyone.